All right, here is your percent applications, but it's sort of just like number two. So we're going to finish this up. This is some word problem versions, but we're adding commission and tips along with it. So let's get started. So when we're talking about commissions, we're talking about basically, this happens a lot with car salesmen or women, things where you're getting incentive to sell something. Okay. And so the best way to describe this is it's like extra money a salesperson earns. Okay. But it's usually on an amount of money or on each item, that kind of thing. And then a tip, we know that this is extra money given to a server, okay, at like a restaurant, okay. And then let's go ahead and fill these out too while we're writing our sentences here. We know tax is money to the GOV, the government. And then our tip in restaurants, we already said, is the extra money to the server. Okay. So in this case up here, this tip, if it's not a restaurant, it might be a server or really any other person who's provided you with a service. Let's see. Someone who provided a service. So it could be a server at a restaurant, or it could be someone who did your hair or something like that, are common tips. So here we go. This is nothing new. We have to answer the question, use an equation, and answer the question itself. Okay. Alexis got her haircut and a manicure. So there's two things happening. The haircut costs this much, and the manicure costs this much. She decides she's going to leave a 12% tip. What was the amount of tip that she left? Okay, so we just need to find the amount of tip. We know that we find tip by doing what is 12% of an amount, and it'll tell us that tip amount. And remember, we want to be focusing on, do the percentages match the number? And if we say what is 12% of the payment, that answer is going to be the 12%. So we're going to be able to use that number. We need to know how much her total bill was. And so we have her haircut will be H. That's our $45. We have the manicure, which is M, and that'll be the $24. If we add those together, we get $69. And now we have a 12% tip on there. And so our question that we need to write is, what is 12% of the total bill? Okay, and do a direct translation like we normally do with your two swoops to the left, dividing by 100. Okay, 0.12 times 69. We can go ahead and do that multiplication. $8.28. Okay, and so what was the tip amount? The tip was $8.28. Now, if it said what was the total cost, then we'd have to add the tip to the cost. So always pay attention to those questions. This one was just asking for the tip itself. All right, next one, we have Tim selling cars, and he earns this amount per week in salary, plus he earns an 8% commission. We know commission is that extra. It's sort of like a tip for a salesperson. So in 1 week, and this is important too to notice that the amount of time he earns an amount per week, and this commission is just 1 week as well. So we're not really multiplying by any amount of weeks, so that's important to notice. But anyway, he sells this amount of cars, so how much does he earn? We are talking about his total earnings now, not just the commission. It doesn't say what did he earn in commission. It says what did he earn. And so we have a salary plus a commission because that's technically everything he earned in 1 week. Okay. This question should say how much does he earn in 1 week. That way we don't have to guess or assume that we're talking about 1 week, because it could be how much does he earn in 2 weeks or 3 weeks, things like that. But because it says in 1 week, we can assume and infer that we're just referencing 1 week. So either way, he earned $145 per week plus an 8% commission. So we again want to know what is 8% of, so he earned 8% on what amount? Did he earn 8% on his salary or what he sells? And the commission is always on what you sell. So what is 8% of 36,000? Okay, and that's money. And so direct translation, do your divided by 100, 0.08 times 36,000. And we can go ahead and type that in. And we get a commission of X equals money, $2,880, which is a great commission. And so he earned his $145 per week. Okay, so here's his commission, plus his $145, okay, per week payment. And so we end up with 5, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, regroup, 10, regroup. We end up with $3,025 total earning, okay, with his commission and his salary. So he earns $3,025. Okay. All right. Now on to some restaurants. So Mr. and Mrs. Naku go to a meal at Banana Bees, and it costs them $36, and then they left a tip. So what's the total cost? They're not asking what's the tip, they're asking the total. So we need to make sure that we're reflecting both the tip and the bill itself. Let's write our question, same as always. What is 18% of $36? Direct translation, 2 swoops to the left, and plug it in, $6.48 tip. We know that's just the tip. We need to add that to the bill. And so we have a $36 bill. This was our tip. We're adding these up. We get 8, 4, 12, a little regroup there, and 4. And so we have a total payment of $42.48. So the total cost is $42.48. All right, and last one, the Smiths family went out to dinner, cost them $56. There's a sales tax, so it's still an added amount. We're not dealing with discounts today. This one's just not going to the server. This is a sales tax on their meal, which goes to the government. And then they also leave a 15% tip. This is an amount that is applied before the tax. So that's important because we need to know that we're leaving a tip on the original amount, not on the amount plus tax. Okay, and then we're asking what's the total cost of the entire dinner. So again, we're not wanting to know what the tip is. We're not wanting to know what the tax is. We want everything totaled. Okay, so we have 2 things here. We have to calculate the cost with the sales tax, and we have to calculate the sales tax and also calculate the tip. So let's go ahead and figure out what the tip is first. So let's take care of figuring out the tip, because it does say applied before the tax. Okay, and so we have what is, and tip is 15%. 15% of the original cost of my meal. So we have x equals 0.15 times 56. And so my tip ends up being 0.15 times 56, $8.40. Okay, so this is my tip. Okay, now here's the other thing though. The sales tax is not on the price with the tip either. The sales tax is just on the cost of the meal as well. And so we have our tax one. What is 6% of $56? Direct translation, 0.06 times 56. And let's go ahead and calculate that. 0.06 times 56. So 6% of $56 is just $3.36. So now we have all this information. So here's our tax amount. There's our tip amount. What is the total cost of our dinner out? Well, we had our bill of $56. We have our tip of $8.40. And we have our tax of $3.36, and those are all calculated off of the original bill, not off of any new number. Okay, and so we have 6, 7, 17, regroup, and 6. Okay, make sure we have our dollar sign, and there is our total bill after tip and tax on that original price. So what is the total cost of their dinner out? The total cost is $67.76. And there we go. So notice all those questions are all the same. This doesn't need to be complicated. Okay, when we're calculating tax or tip, or commission, we're using that same sentence question stem.